she felt neglected. My daughter didn't understand, and I just told her I apologize, and I didn't know.
When we're looking for the answers to our biggest relationship struggles, sometimes they aren't found on the surface. They're buried deep within the subconscious.
I didn't want to do my quantum healing over video. I wanted to be in person so that I would have the opportunity to feel these ladies out.
On this episode, we welcome back returning guest Melinda Stewart, who after the show traveled all the way from Connecticut to take us up on our offer to try hypnotherapy for the first time.
She started crying. She heard what I said. I know now that you felt neglected.
Melinda already considered herself someone who operated at a high vibration, but she knew something deeper still needed healing. What she uncovered during her session shocked her.
So I had a mother in this lifetime that would say anything to me and I would take it. My mother called us bitches so much we didn't know that it was wrong. Took that, and in my adult relationships, when men were disrespectful or girlfriends were disrespectful, I would allow it because my mother would cuss us out and she'd be like, but I love you. And I'd be like, okay. So
by exploring memories and past lives, Melinda began to understand the painful dynamics between herself and her daughter, realizing that patterns of neglect and emotional wounds had been quietly repeating across generations.
That y'all told me that. I didn't know because I felt a block with she and I.
But the revelations didn't stop there. Her session also brought clarity about her relationship with her own mother, helping her recognize how years of verbal aggression caused her to silence her voice and tolerate what she once believed she had to endure.
Y'all are powerful. I could feel it, like I could feel joy and I could feel love.
Because we have to make sure that once you come to this awareness and this realization of how you have affected other people, sometimes some people do feel inclined to want to rectify relationships.
Is you have to forgive yourself for anything that you think you coulda, shoulda, would have done for your children better.
Through awareness, forgiveness, and confronting these hidden patterns, Melinda began breaking cycles that had affected her family for generations.
So it made dysfunction in the relationships that I had.
So whatever lessons your daughter had to learn, you were part of that planning.
And something even more unexpected happened.
My nephew, I was happy that he came through. And really what's amazing now is I can feel him now even more.
After the session, Melinda walked away experiencing a release of not only old baggage, she even had relief from chronic pain that she had struggled with for years.
I'm telling y'all, I'm 56 years old. I was having difficulty with my knees and with my leg and my ability to walk. I almost lost my ability to walk, y'all. That's not the case anymore. It literally healed my knees and stuff, but the pains that I was having in my body prior to coming for the healing, those things have all been removed. Because when you are in pain, when you're experiencing pain and you don't know what to do, and you experience something that actually helps you with that pain, I had to say something about it because it was real for me when I couldn't get out of my bed at night. I would cry when I would have to get out of the bed because my knees were in so much pain.
This episode is about healing generational trauma, reclaiming your voice, and discovering how the subconscious and even past lives can shape the relationships we experience today.
I'm telling y'all, the connection of the angels and God being able to touch and heal you, it is real.
What's going on, on, y'all. So we have a really special episode today. We wanted to bring somebody back to the show who graced us with her appearance on a previous episode of Twin Flame Fix My Vibe. She came in, she wanted to talk about her childhood trauma and the experiences she had in previous relationships and how she learned how to love in a different way as a result. And now she is brand new and she had an experience with the Twin Flames. And I want to welcome everybody back to the show, Miss Melinda Stewart. Welcome, Miss Melinda.
Hey.
Hey,
Y'all.
And the reason why we brought you back, Miss Melinda, because you actually, you were so daring. You came all the way to Jersey from your home state of Connecticut, and you wanted to experience quantum healing, and you did it.
Yes, you
You
did.
did it, girl. You did it. And we met you live in the flesh, and we wanted to bring you back on the show so that way you can tell your account of your experience doing quantum healing. But first and foremost, before we get into the good stuff, Melinda, how you doing, sweetie?
Doing great. I'm doing great.
Wonderful, wonderful. And I'm sure you're doing a lot better now that you got some clarity, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. A lot of things have just like expanded. I think that's the best way to explain it since I came to see y'all. My experience was wonderful. Walking in and just meeting y'all in person, I could feel both of y'all energy when I walked in. And that was
Is it like that?
it was great, but y'all are powerful. I could feel it. Like when I walked in, I could feel joy and I could feel love instantly.
Oh,
When
thank
I walked
you.
in, instantly I could feel both of y'all energy. So it made me feel welcomed. And then when y'all set the room and its ambiance, candles and things like that, I could feel the energy change. And then as we talked and then as we went into the part to for the hypnosis, I felt comfortable because I was just
Good.
like, I'm going, period. I didn't know what I was doing and I didn't have
You were
any.
already there,
I
right?
was like, I'm going. That's it. So, yeah,
Yeah, you already put the miles. You were already there, so it's like 1, 2, 3, let's go.
let's do
But
this
let me
because
ask you.
I wanted to experience it. hmm
Yes.
It was
Well,
wonderful.
thank you for that, and thank you for letting the audience know about our disposition because we really try to make it comfortable for the patient or the client when they come. Because a lot of people have anxiety about it, a lot of, you see us on social media, but you obviously don't know us. So
Yes.
we try to make sure that it's a comfortable space when you do come in to our facility. How was your level of anxiety about the process before you got there?
My heart was open. I was open. I was open. I think I got anxiety afterwards. I was like, wait a minute, what did I just do?
That's what
I
happens
got
with everybody.
yeah, I got it afterwards. I got it afterwards, but but it didn't last long because I was like, it's done now, girl. You finished. So it was after the fact, but I didn't feel any anxiety while I was there. I felt welcomed and I was excited. I was excited to find out who I was in previous lives. And I was also I could feel, because I have different gifts. I don't announce it to people, but I have them. So when I walked in, like I said, I could feel your energy. I knew that the people that I saw on YouTube, the energy was the same and even more beautiful in person. So I was
Oh,
grateful
thank
for that.
you.
I was grateful for that
Thank
because
And
it
you
was
know what?
even more in person.
You carry the same energy too.
you. Absolutely. Very
Great.
lovely.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Very,
Thank
it was
you.
like it was like we were girlfriends when we saw you in person.
Yes.
Yeah, that's how I felt too. Yeah, that's
And
how I.
was and the best part was, girl, you had some tea. You could write a
Woo!
book about your life,
Oh
honey.
my
I
gosh.
brought a whole store worth, honey. I dropped it on you. I gave y'all boiled the tea and served it for you. Woo!
Indeed, indeed. But I think we told you several times. I think we told you several times that you could write a book
Oh
Yep.
my
with
gosh.
with
And
your
do a
life
movie.
story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what's funny? When I was reviewing your audio for your quantum healing, she
Mm-hmm.
could write a book just on her session, the different lives that she lived, because they were juicy. And I was like, oh my God, it was refreshing listening to your audio because oh, that's right. That's what happened.
Yeah.
So
So when you came on the show, I just want to recap a little bit when you had originally came on the show. Before we get started, let's show the audience a little clip from what happened on your previous show. Tell us why you looking to raise your vibrations today.
There was a lot of noise going on. A lot of things that I was saying to myself, I didn't realize that I played things in my mind, which created the vibration that I was on. It was a very low vibration. And when the things replayed, I realized, well, that came from my childhood. My mother said that, or this person said that. I am somebody that always worked on building and improving character in myself.
I love it. What do you do for a living?
I'm a PCA and I work with nuns. I believe that people show up in your life to do two things. A person may show up to turn the light on, is to just wake you up. And then sometimes people show up to put the spotlight on you.
Indeed.
And that spotlight represents self-love. And I saw you ladies on another podcast and I heard y'all talking about the to-do list. I'm like, I want to get it done so I can get out of here. So the first most important relationship that you will ever have is the one that you have with yourself. Loving yourself means that you set boundaries. Loving yourself means that you determine who will and will not be in your life.
I need you to pay attention that she says the age 36
Yes.
and she's at 56.
Yeah.
It took us a while to get to where we are right now. That you have to work on yourself. This is a journey. If you really listen hard to us, we're going to give you the tools that you don't have to wait 10, 20 years. You can get this done in months if you just follow our suggestion. You mentioned that you were at low vibration. What was your wake-up call?
He was about 6'3". He wasn't that cute, but he had a rhythm that I liked.
Okay.
My first husband, he was abusive. I was clueless. I was like, that's got to be the devil telling me not to marry because I got these cute shoes and I got this cake.
Yeah.
And we about to do this thing.
Yeah.
When I saw that he was willing to choke me and I was carrying our child, I was like, wait a minute. That was when the lights came on. And to be real, everybody in my life was similar to him. And I came to a place in my self-discovery of understanding that the people that show up in your life, they show up to show you the things that you need to hear.
One thing about you, Melinda, you carry so much love and positivity, and we couldn't really quite understand why you even came on the show in the first place.
Yes.
Because, what are you trying to fix?
yeah.
Until we got to the bottom line, we found out
Yeah.
some things.
You know now, don't you?
But I will say that regardless of what it is that you have gone through, one thing we try to get our patients to, our clients to understand, is that you have to carry this love capacity. And when you realize that you have this strong capacity for love, it'll change your life. And you already embraced and embody it so well. There were just some things that we had to connect the dots with, which is what we're going to get into a little bit in the show, because some of it stemmed around some past generational trauma and then also some experiences with your daughters. And we wanted to see if there were ways that we can start getting you to kind of release some of these emotions so that way you can understand the dynamics of those relationships. And we really got to that. Would you agree, Melinda?
I agree. I definitely agree. I was able to receive the insight that y'all had because it was things especially about my eldest daughter, that I didn't know, you know. And I've been trying throughout the years to figure it out. She and we started doing a thing where Tabitha Brown has this book called You and Me. I got that book and I told her, I was just trying to figure out because I felt a block with she and I, but I didn't know what it was. So y'all turned the lights on for me. So now I know, as she is an adult, I know what I have to do as a mother to get the bond between she and I. I know which direction I need to go. She felt neglected and I didn't know
Mm-hmm.
that y'all told me that. I didn't know. And when I told my other daughter, Jada, I said, "Your sister felt neglected, and I didn't know." She said, "Duh, you didn't know that." I said, "Duh, you the reason why." I
Oh,
had
you
to
certainly.
change it up because at the age of 15, she was pregnant, and 16, she had the baby. So I wasn't so much as giving it to Jada, but I was trying to secure her so they both wouldn't be under the bridge living, the baby and her living under the bridge somewhere. I had to cover
Yeah,
her. And I
you
know
did the best. Yeah.
I did the best, and my daughter didn't understand, and I just told her I apologize, and she was like, "Ma, what you talking about?" I said, "I went and I had this thing." She said, "I don't want to hear about it," but she started crying. She heard what I said when I told her, "I know now that you felt neglected," and she was like,
Let me
I could hear her crying. She cried because it
well,
was
let me
the
ask
truth.
you, did your daughters have a chance to listen to your audio, or did you just go back and readdress some of the emotion?
Put it on for Jada and I to listen to it because Jada wanted to hear. She heard it
Okay.
and
Yeah.
she was surprised. But I said, "You're not really surprised because you try to control everything that I do." She's like, "But I didn't know." So she also got a little bit offended. I said, "Don't be getting offended because you know how you get down. You're spoiled. You're really spoiled."
Well, one thing I want to say, I want to backtrack a little bit because even though you had your daughters um, involved in the post care process, right? We'll call it
Hmm.
post care process, which is good, which is something we recommend because we have to make sure that once you come to this awareness and this realization of how you have affected other people, sometimes some people do feel inclined to want to rectify relationships. Now, in doing that though, where your heart space is at that time, it's like you want forgiveness, right? You want to learn how to let go. Am I correct? Like, is that how you feel? Because it's what I'm sensing. Like, you felt like you wanted to move past and let go of some of these emotions that were kind of over your heads.
I think for me, I was open because what I really want is to be able to heal and build when it comes to the relationship with my children, my sister. I'm open. I don't expect them to be like, "I'm so sorry, Ma." I was
Yeah.
open because I considerate of her feelings. So wherever she want to go with it, I'm right there. If she don't want to talk about it, she ain't ready. Okay, I'll just wait.
I
But
love that.
I put it on the table, and when you ready to eat, let's get on down with it. That's how I
Love
feel.
that.
Yeah.
I'm open.
I
I'm
love that
open.
because I was gonna actually say that because I really think it's important that if you're going to take that step to try
Hmm.
to readdress relationships after you have this awareness during your quantum restoration, you have to be prepared for the other person's response. Because at the
Yeah.
end of the day, now you're in this awareness. Now you know what role and what part you played, but the other person didn't have the quantum restoration. So they are
Right.
still the old timeline. They're still the old person.
Yep.
So now you're trying to create a new timeline with somebody that's still in an old timeline, and it can get a little tricky.
Yeah,
So
it
in
can.
that, you have to know how to sit in love and accept a person regardless of how they're going to accept you and this new person. It can be
Also,
challenging.
too, so I just want to chime in, because we have covered this in our pre-counseling, before your session, and I want to reiterate this. And this part is a very, very, very complicated for anyone who is not deep into spirituality, but this is so real, and many people will debate about this. And I had brought this to your attention, and it actually, I remember you were very intrigued by this information. So one of the things that you have to do is you have to forgive yourself for anything that you think you could have, should have, would have done for your children better, because everyone has their own to-do list. And when
Mhm.
everyone has their own to-do list, I always say God is not going to come down and be the character with you in your storyline.
Yeah.
It's us as a team. We're all interwoven. So if your daughter has to learn self-love, someone has to come in and do something that's negative in her eyes for her to start understanding self-love. So whatever lessons your daughter had to learn, you were part of that planning. And it meant for you to do some strange things or things that she deems as not motherly, but that's what you signed up for. Because like I said, God is not going to come down and say, okay, I'm going to be
Mhm.
that villain for you. So we all signed up to be villains for each other. And that's what happens with a lot of people. We all pick our parents. And so a person that needs to learn self-love or dignity, they may pick parents who are drug addicts. And that is their job, to be drug addicts in that person's life, so
Mhm.
that they can learn the lessons that they need to learn. But what happens with parents, because they don't remember signing this contract that is a little devious, then they go through a period where they feel ashamed of themselves. Like, I could have been a better parent, but they don't
Mhm.
realize, no, you signed up to be that drug addict for that child, so
Yeah.
that they could
Yeah.
grow up and have to learn how to have dignity.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
one of the things I need for you and the rest of our viewers and listeners to understand is that as parents, or even just people in relationships, if you've ever hurt someone, trust and believe more than likely you signed up to do that to that person. And when you guys have resolved the issue, you now have to face the mirror and say, I forgive you.
Yeah.
I forgive
Mhm.
myself for
Yeah.
doing X, Y, and Z, because you don't know what contract you signed. So I really want to reiterate that to you, because I know we talked about that to you. We discussed that when you were sitting on the couch in our office. And I just
Yeah.
want to remind you about that.
Yes.
And just to piggyback off of that, Keish, too, because um, one thing too, when you get to that point when you're trying to rectify the relationships, and as I had, just recently addressed, when that person isn't ready, the best thing you can really do is just in that forgiveness is creating this space for love. So you don't even realize that you operate differently around that person because you know what role you played in the situation.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mhm.
because you start changing your behavior, your interactions, and your thoughts, what happens is that healing process is starting to take place,
Mhm.
and you don't know and don't realize the magnitude of how God, how spirit is really trying to create something totally new within the relationship, even though that space is present. Because what happens is they start working on the other side. They're already working on
Mm-hmm.
the other side to fix the timeline, because now they know. They're like, all right, you've made this commitment to say I'm going to fix my to-do list. So now that you
Mhm.
fix your to-do list, we still gotta wipe out all the shit that happened from 10 years ago between you and this individual. So
Yep.
it's going to take a
Yep.
little bit of time,
Yeah.
but give us a minute, because we're over here fixing
Yeah.
it. And through that space, you'd be surprised at how it starts to really heal and mend the relationship differently.
Definitely.
What I also found was my kids, like with my sister, she did something to break the family apart. I guess that's the best way to put it. And my eldest daughter felt like she wanted to talk to her about what she did to my dad, my stepdad, and her ex-boyfriend. And so that didn't go too well. That did not go well. But I told my sister, my niece, and because we all ended up creating a text message where we all could be in there. And
Yeah.
my sister was acting like a victim, like I'm attacking her and stuff like, and I didn't say anything to attack her or make her feel bad about losing my nephew, because she didn't let me finish what I was saying to her. And what I was saying to her, now that you don't have, now that you've lost our Kindle, we want to be here for you as a family to support you and comfort you. I don't want you to be over there grieving by yourself. And she was like, "Oh, you talking about me losing my son?" And then she took some of her friends and put them into our text message, and it was saying private things about the family. And I said, "You should put these people in there because the things that you did, it involved DCF, and it had a lot of things that was going on. And you bringing people in saying I'm fussing with you about a T-shirt, but that's family issues that eventually I believe it'll get resolved." So I figured, well, it's on the table now. Whenever she
Can I ask you a
done with,
question? Did this happen after your quantum healing?
happened after my quantum healing. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
And
Well, what
it's
I'm
been
picking
eight
up from this
years.
situation.
It's been pending for 8 years. And my daughter, my eldest daughter, Capri, she's getting ready to leave and go to Korea. And she just feels like when it comes to family, she just want to lay stuff on the table. Hopefully, we'll be able to mend it before she leaves, because she wants to be able to be comfortable around my sister. And what my sister created was my daughter not trusting her by what she did. And so now that's on the table, but I feel like hopefully, eventually it'll take time, because like you said, my sister's on another side of things, and she isn't spiritual like that, and she's grieving. She just lost my nephew, in September. So she's going through a lot emotionally, and um that's unfortunate, but it'll get resolved eventually because I'm still here. I'm always.
Commend your older daughter for doing that. And the reason why I say that is because Um, and I don't want you to say in the Black community because it's all communities. Because I've had a
Mhm.
conversation with, and one time in the nurses station, different nationalities were talking about the family secrets or the family issues that are never addressed. The pink
Yeah.
elephant in the room, the carpet
Mhm.
being, having garbage under it, and it's a big lump, and everybody's walking around it. So what your daughter did was she decreased the chances of your family coming back with another generational curse. So she really I commend her. So kudos to her because a lot of people and families don't even have the balls to do that. We're still at the age where people are still not knowing their family secrets when it comes down to medical health.
Oh yeah.
People are
Yep.
finding don't even know that their great great grandmother had cancer or their auntie has had cancer. People don't know
Uh-huh.
that because we always want to be tight lip and we don't talk about stuff like that. So kudos to her again because that was something that needed to be done. It was very uncomfortable. It was like somebody ripping a band-aid off a wound and and it did have
Mhm.
to bleed. But she did,
Yeah.
and you know what? That could have been on her to-do list of
Yep.
speaking up.
Yep. Speaking up.
So
Yep. Yep. Yep.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, just continue to pray on that situation,
Oh
and
well.
we will continue as well, but I know that you will, and I know that things will pan out in a positive manner, and giving it space to mend itself is just important.
Yep.
I wanted to tap into your quantum healing experience a little bit because I
Yeah.
know you visited 3 or 4 lifetimes,
Yeah.
and a lot of them, and they were all, well, 2 of them were the same, but one of them was a little different, and you really had to understand the process of love. And it's so interesting because you had to understand it in a way that kind of put you on the other side of the fence. So, what I mean by that is that you had one lifetime, I remember, where you were an angry, bitter old man. You were a
Mm-hmm.
bitter old angry man, and in that lifetime, you were married to a woman who emasculated you, and you had 2 kids, just like you do now. You had 2 children, and you weren't really involved in their lives. And then during the end of your life, you found yourself to be alone. And I just want to show everybody a quick audio, or let's listen to a little bit of your audio from your session. Let's take a listen.
I'm a man.
Okay. Is the body young or old?
He old.
Is the body healthy?
No.
Okay, so tell me what is happening.
He's a white man.
Mm-hmm.
His hair is brown, but it's gray and it's balding.
Okay.
It's really thin.
Is he alone or is there others around?
Alone.
How does he feel being alone?
Angry.
Tell me why.
He's angry because he doesn't feel like anyone loves him
Okay.
or even tried to understand him and love him.
Yeah.
They left him.
Tell me, who is they?
His wife, the children. I see a girl, Emily.
Is only one child or is it more than one child?
There's a boy. Drake.
Okay. And these are your 2 adult children?
Yes.
And nobody's there with you?
They don't care about me. They didn't treat me right.
So it's them.
Yeah.
How did your wife treat you when she was alive? Tell me more.
She bossed me around, do things that a man should do. She nagged me all the time, you know. Yeah, I had no control. She controlled everything.
Do you resent this marriage?
Yes.
You do. I know that you have relief that you're finally being freed from this marriage. Why were you so angry? Why are you so angry?
I don't think I was taught the right things. I wanted happiness and love and joy and excitement. And I feel like I've been ignored.
Okay.
No one understands me.
Okay. So you were more angry at life.
Yes.
Okay.
So there you are. You were that angry old man, and you were trying to figure out why you were left alone in the end of it all. We had to do some work with you in the end of it too. I remember that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to get you to find forgiveness. You remember that lifetime, Melinda?
Yes, I do. And I remember being angry and I felt the anger. What was amazing is that I could actually feel the character of each person as I was going through each lifetime. I could feel the anger in him and it felt like pins and needles. I remember saying that to you and I remember you saying, okay, and y'all talked about bringing the healing and forgiving and releasing the healing, and letting go of the unforgiveness and being mad because I was sitting up in there looking crazy by myself and was
To no fault of your own. But what
and then I
happened in that
understand
lifetime
why.
though, but what happened in that lifetime though, you had resentment towards your family, and where the work came in is that we had to teach you how to forgive yourself for the situation that you were inadvertently placed in. It wasn't
Hmm.
even your fault that you didn't know how to love your kids appropriately, because your father didn't teach you how to love your kids appropriately. And this is
True.
the thing that even as we live in our current lifetimes, that people need to start making these connections when it comes to how we're our capability to love and have compassion for the next person. It's a learned behavior. So
Hmm.
if you have somebody teaching you how to do it, how could you ever know how to extend that to somebody else? So in your particular situation, we had to bring that awareness to that entity, that lifetime, that spirit that we were talking to, so
Hmm.
that way you didn't have the level of anger that you carried at the point of your death.
I want to chime in too. Is that the male, the gentleman had to understand that the lesson in that lifetime too was speaking up, and it
Hmm.
also was revealed that you worked a lot just to stay away from your wife who was nagging you all the time. So it was a
Hmm.
catch-22. It was like, and it was funny because we asked the gentleman, did you leave? I should say Janine, because Janine hosted it. Did you stay away from your household and work more hours just to stay away from your wife? And then we connected the dots that by staying away from the wife who was emasculating you, you
Hmm.
were neglecting your
Absolutely.
children. And
Hmm.
so the theme, one of the themes was, or the lessons were that you had to speak up. You had to learn how to speak up in that process, and you didn't.
Hmm. Yeah.
And how does that actually play into your current life, Melinda? Because that's what it boils down to. When we go back to these lifetimes, your subconscious brings it forward for a reason. So we want to understand what is the lesson, the connection to your current lifetime that we had to address.
Believe that it was also brought into this lifetime because I didn't learn then. So I had a mother in this lifetime that would say anything to me and I would take it because I didn't know that it was disrespectful and it was wrong. Like I talked about how, my mother called us bitches so much we didn't know that it was wrong. So I took that and in my adult relationships, when men were disrespectful or girlfriends were disrespectful, I would allow it because my mother would cuss us out and she'd be like, but I love you. And I'd be like, okay. So it made dysfunction in the relationships that I had because I didn't think it was anything wrong with a person saying what was on their mind and what they felt. But it hurt me. But it would hurt me and I wouldn't speak up. But now, in this grown age that I am, I had to let go of a friend. Actually, just before I came for the quantum healing, I had to let a friend go because she felt like she could just say whatever she wanted to, not just to me, but to my child. And I had to let her know, no, you don't get to just say whatever you want to. And it's not okay. I actually said it in a voice clip because when I would try to talk to her in person, she would talk over me. And I said, this is important. I need you to understand that it's not okay for you to say whatever you want to and treat me any kind of way and also disrespect my children. That's not okay. So with that,
Yeah.
this is what you gonna get. Bye bye. Cause I don't
So you
expect
put it on a voicemail. You put it on a voicemail so she can play it on repeat.
play it, put it on repeat. I
She's
want you
like,
to
did this?
understand.
I told she to say that.
Yeah. And I talked
Hard.
about it, and I wasn't angry or disrespectful to her because she was disrespectful to me. I spoke up though, and I knew that from that was something that I wouldn't do. I would just let people say whatever they wanted to, and I'm like, well, they have a right to say whatever they want to. They have a right to have an opinion, but not if it's breaking my heart, and so if
So
it's
I
hurting
gotta
me.
I gotta chime in with this because I need you to understand, and this is something that I'm gonna piggyback off of what I said earlier. You're
Okay.
gonna find, first of all of us are friends in heaven, all of us. So
Yeah.
when unfortunately, you and this friend that you had or have, y'all might never make up until you see each other again in heaven. And when
Mhm.
you go back to heaven, you're gonna find out that was part of the contract because you had to speak up. I'm telling you, this is when you find like so many people have said when they go back, they're like, "Oh my God, are you serious? That's what it was all about." So kudos to you because you
Mhm.
passed the test.
Yeah,
But
I'm grateful
unfortunately,
for it.
unfortunately, the universe is funny because they may or
Mhm.
may not test you again. So just be on your P's and Q's about that. But when you say a prayer for your friend, you
Mhm.
say to God, I'm grateful for what she did for me.
Yep.
If that was part of the contract, I thank her for
Mhm.
even signing up to do that because when we sign these contracts, a lot of times, most of the time, we know we are signing up to become unfriends. I don't know if that's even a word, unfriend. But
Yeah. Yeah.
so
Yeah.
you guys,
Follow you.
yeah,
It's a constant
It's,
test because I had it being test with the guy, and so I had to speak up with them too, and just let him know I'm not here to be toyed with, sir. Thank you.
there you go. Yeah, and let me ask you, when you actually speak up now at this point, do you feel relief?
Yeah, I actually had started getting a pain in my neck because I wasn't speaking up and doing what I and saying what I needed to say to people. And once
yeah,
I started getting people together, the pain in my neck disappeared. It went away. And it also had that pain in my neck also had to do with me moving forward and letting stuff go. Because
hmm
I would just sit there and I would just be like, okay, well, they talking crazy. But I would try to be like, okay, well, but this is my friend and I know them. And well, maybe he doesn't mean this. Maybe no. Okay. No, you're not gonna play with my emotions, my heart, or my intelligence. Bye. And if it,
There you
and whatever's meant to be, or if it's meant to be, cool. If it's not, that's even cooler. I'm grateful for the lesson, but I don't just let people just play around with me. I don't, and I would before. I would be like, okay, and that was like
there you
the timid queen. That was one of my characters. She was really
yes,
timid, and she just was like, well, he's a mean guy, but I'm hanging out with him and taking whatever he give me. My mother said I should marry him. It wasn't really what I wanted. So there was also a lot of timidity in me. But now at this 56, I'm like, oh no, I didn't get no more pains in my neck. Not because I won't
so
speak
now
up.
so now that you brought that lifetime up, let's talk about it. Let's
yeah,
talk
that was a
about
good
that
one.
lifetime because,
Okay.
like you said, you were a queen, or you were preparing to marry a man who was going to be king,
Yes.
and your mother was there, and you were describing this scene about how you had servants, and you didn't even want the life. You didn't even want the life, girl. Who doesn't want the
No,
life?
I didn't want
but
it.
you
Yes.
yeah, but you were in any event, you were assigned to this marriage,
Hmm.
and you ended up marrying that man, and in this lifetime you described how you ended up having a son, that you adored this son,
Hmm.
but the meat of the relationship was how the your marriage ended, and it ended in a very interesting way because your castle got raided, and when your castle got raided, your husband was captured, you and your
Hmm.
son were captured, your family was separated, and
Yeah.
then you lost all the queendom. It was
Lost
taken away from
everything.
you, and you
The husband actually was killed.
He was killed. Yeah, the husband was killed, and I ended up
yeah.
with nothing. But I seemed to be excited about a cow that I got to take care of.
But
I
you know what? That means you had
was
gratitude. That means you ended up having
happy
gratitude in your
though.
entire situation.
Yeah, I was broke, but I was happy. I had me a good cow, honey. I was good to go.
And just to give the audience a little history behind that cow, when she was a queen prior to the castle getting invaded, she saw a cow that I think you wanted to milk the cow or something, and they were telling you that's beneath you. And you were like, but I really would like to milk the cow. I like to do things like that. But
Yeah,
you didn't have the ability to do certain humanistic things because it was beneath your title.
yeah,
And so when
yeah,
you had nothing but milking, you was a handmaiden or something,
yeah.
and you was
I was
milking cows.
happy.
You were, excuse my friend, you was happier than a pig in shit.
Yep, because I got to do what I wanted to do, not what my mother
Yeah.
said I should do, or
Or
what
your
I
husband,
had to do,
whoever.
or my husband said I had to do, because he was putting pressure on me about having a baby and making sure it was a son. So the pressure was
Hmm.
over. I had me a heifer, and I was happy. Yep. Oh
We
yeah.
could get good stories out of these healings. We could get good stories. So
Yeah.
Yes.
now, what was the lesson that you had to learn in that particular lifetime? Refresh our memory.
In that particular lifetime with the queen, I think I had to learn to step into the things that were important to me. Even if it's what my mother said, whatever, I had to find the joy also within myself, because I do remember when I was in under hypnosis, I kept saying it's okay because I go within. I had to learn how to go within myself and find happiness and find joy, because there were certain things that I had to adhere to, but they couldn't take my joy. They couldn't take my peace. They couldn't take my ability to love what I loved, because I would just go within. So that was my strength
And I want
spiritually.
to add something to that. I want to add something to that because I'm just gonna say this. I'm gonna say word for word what you said in your audio. You said you learned that it's okay to submit and not always share control. You and it equals freedom. So it's okay to let go. So I'm
Wow.
glad we're reviewing these two. Glad we're reviewing these two separate lifetimes, because one of the interesting things that we teach our clients is that everyone has their own to-do list. So just because in this lifetime your to-do list is speaking up, that may not be for someone else. So
Hmm.
you have to allow everyone to take their own test,
True.
because we don't know the intricate parts of someone's past lives and what they came into this lifetime with, on what they need to learn. So in your lifetime, we already revealed that it was speaking up. But for someone else who may be in the same similar situations, they might have had a lifetime where they were a tyrant and they didn't allow people to
Mm.
speak up. So in this lifetime, they had to be subdued and balance things out. So you had two separate lifetimes where you had to be submissive and let things go,
Hmm.
and just just enjoy life and appreciate everything. And then in another lifetime, as the Caucasian gentleman, you had to learn how to speak up. So that's why it's these quantum healings are so important, because it really gives you a mirror. It gives you you get to go back into time in a time
Yes.
machine and see exactly what things reflect into this lifetime. So what I'm seeing with your two storylines so far is a balance
Mhm.
of speaking up, but then also to appreciating the things that you don't
Mhm.
have control over. That's what it was, understanding what you don't have control over. Because there's many
Yeah.
things in our lifetime that we don't have control over, and we have to let it go
Mhm.
and let that person take their test. And we as
Yes.
mothers have a tendency to walk into our children's lives, and we don't know how to let things go. We want to drive the bus for them. We want to flip the pancake for them. We want to wash their ass. We
Uh-huh.
we want to
Don't give
tell
them
me
a
when you're
tip.
done doodling. I'll wipe it for you. And
Don't
sometimes
want them to cry.
we have to stay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we have to
Mhm.
sometimes step back and let people take their own test.
Yes.
And so I think that was kind of was a reflection in that lifetime for you, because of the things that you're going through with your daughters. Let them
Mhm.
take their test. It's okay
Yeah.
to let things go.
And matter of fact, I think we brought that up to you in the last episode, that was something that you had to address, was allowing your daughters to be who they are.
Mhm.
Because you're the mama bear. Right? That's what Keisha said. Keisha told you
Yeah.
you're the mama bear, and
Mhm.
you always want a mama. You always mama bearing.
Yeah. I definitely am
Yeah.
with Jada, but my oldest daughter, she a Taurus, she a bull, so I just let her rock. I just let her rock because she's very strong and very stubborn. So I
Jada,
love that.
oh
I
Jada.
love that about her. I love that about her. She's very disciplined, very okay is left. She over there. Okay is
So
right.
I'm
She
getting a little
over there.
confused. Is the one who doesn't have kids, is she the older one or the younger one?
She's the
The
oldest
older.
one. Capri
Okay.
is
So
the oldest
the
one.
one that had the kids is the youngest one.
The youngest one, that's Jada. Jada is
Okay,
the one that
gotcha.
I'm over there. I'll be like, oh no, he raggedy. You need to wanna and I should just let her do her thing. But the oldest one, I'll be like, she got it. I don't worry about her. But because
Yeah.
Jada have kids and she tends to stay in things that are unhealthy, but now that I understand that we all have tests we have to pass and things we have to learn, I'd be like, oh, he ain't acting right. Okay. I don't have nothing to say now. I don't have nothing to say. I let her
Exactly.
rock.
Yeah.
I
And then
let
the
her rock.
beautiful thing is, we met Jada personally,
Yes.
and we told Jada that she needs to come make an appointment with the Twin Flames, and she was game. So we're waiting for you, Jada. Come
Yes.
on
Yes.
down, baby. Don't be
All
scared.
right. All right.
So, another thing that I wanted to bring up during your quantum healing experience was that we were able to tap into your subconscious a little bit, and your subconscious really brought some clarity to you about a few things. Keish, did you have a rundown of some of the things that the subconscious was able to bring forth during her session?
It just reflected all of the things that she learned in each lifetime. So like for we know for the lifetime as a queen, she had to learn how to let go, to appreciate life, and submit, like what I said, I'm sorry. It's okay to submit and not always have control. So, and
Yeah.
then for the healer, even though we didn't touch upon that life, the healer's life was a little more simpler than the other two lifetimes. The healer got to see that she did good in that lifetime. Like she was, it was, to me, it was a nice break. And because you could tell from the storylines that we saw that the queen in Egypt was first, the healer was second, and then the Caucasian man was third. So I
No,
like the fact.
I think the Caucasian man was, the angry man was second, and then the healer was third.
Okay,
And
so
she
Yeah.
she was a priestess. She was a priestess in a village. The third one. She was really powerful. I could feel the power from her. Yeah.
Yeah,
She-
and you possess gifts. So I love the collaboration. I love that expression that came through of your spiritual gifts, because in that lifetime, because you're very gifted. Like you said in the beginning, you have spiritual gifts, and it
Mm-hmm.
reminded you of who you are, and it's okay to tap
Yes.
into these things.
Hmm.
So I thought that was a really cool attribute during that lifetime.
Yeah,
And
she was really strong.
what you know what I also liked about your I'm sorry. I did I interrupt you? I'm
I
sorry.
was gonna say she had like there was a Baba that was in the village, and they had kind of a
Yeah.
conflict. And
Yeah.
I remember Janine had asked what I thought about Baba, and I remember she said, "Ain't nothing to think about him, honey. Ain't nothing to think about him. Like how dare he think he's better than I, you know?" And that was just so funny for me because right now in my personality, I'm not like, oh, you know, he could just go about his business because I ain't thinking about him. So it was really interesting to see her strength, to see the strength
Yes,
of the
very strong.
priestess.
Very strong.
Hmm. Yeah,
And
yeah, but
what I liked about those three different lifetimes, I mean, I know we was a fourth one, but those three that we discussed, um, all three different personalities. All three. You said the
Yeah.
queen was very timid. the
hmm
the old man was very angry.
Angry.
He was angry. He felt it. He felt it in his like he felt the energy, and then the healer was very confident, very like it was like water down her back. It was like it is what it is, and I'm not gonna let
oh
his energy interrupt my energy.
yeah,
So very confident.
yeah,
Indeed. Indeed.
and
And
she was,
that was a beautiful lifetime. Hmm.
yeah, and she was loved, and
Right.
when she died, she was surrounded by love. The priestess, which is the healer, she was surrounded by love. The people loved her, and then we went. I saw her die, and she went into heaven, and her husband was there in heaven. I remember all of that, all of that
Hmm.
stuff. So that was beautiful just to feel all the love.
Interesting. I want to bring up a really interesting point because after you had came on our show, the first show of Twin Flames Fix My Vibe, you mentioned that you actually went to a psychic, and the psychic told you that you were a priestess, and that like we had made this connection about you being a priestess, making so much sense because you are a caregiver to nuns.
Hmm.
So now, we actually were able to confirm that information and went
Yes.
to the time where you were the priestess, and we explored and expounded upon that lifetime. So that's another really cool thing that we're able to accomplish is if you get confirmation from a psychic, we can delve into that lifetime to find out more information and then find
Yeah.
out why that lifetime is playing itself out again in the current lifetime. What did you necessarily have to fix in that lifetime? I know that you, like you had already said, that you were just a loving individual, which is who you are now.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
even in the compassion that you have being this caregiver for nuns, it's just that parallel is incredible.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
I could just tell from that storyline, it was her mastering balance, and she did that.
Hmm.
She really did that. Yep. I also want
Indeed.
to emphasize to people, and we've discussed this on our show previously. Someone like me, I'm gonna use me. If I was watching this show and we have put it in numerical order, who was first, second, and last, I would say to myself, watching the show, well, if she mastered balance as a priestess, why is she back? And I need people to understand is that when you stand before the spiritual council, if you have 20 things to fix or 20 lessons to learn, they're not going to give you all 20 at once. So they won't do that to you. They won't even allow you to do that. That reminds me, when we first started nursing school, Janine, we started nursing school together. I think the lady passed away, God bless her soul. It was one lady that would register each student. If it was 500 students, it was one lady. So I'm being very transparent. I didn't know anything about nursing school. I came in and she gave me 5 classes in that semester, she was only supposed to give me 2 classes. When I
Oh wow.
tell you, I drowned. I died twice. I lost like 50 pounds. I'm exaggerating, but it was very tumultuous. And then when I went back to her and she saw what happened, she was like, why would I? She's sitting in front of me like I'm not in the room. Why would I do that to you?
You ain't know. Oh Lord.
So,
Like,
but the
Mm-mm.
spiritual counselor won't do that to you. So I just want people to understand that yes, she did a great job in that lifetime, but apparently she had more stuff to fix. And so that's why she came back as Melinda.
yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah.
And then the last little bit from your quantum healing, before we close out this show, is you were able to speak to some of your loved ones that had passed on, and they actually came through to deliver some really loving messages for you. And
Yeah.
how was that experience, Melinda?
With my mother, I was shocked that she was just nonchalant, really nonchalant about things. My nephew, I was happy that he came through. And really, what's amazing now is I can feel him now even more. It's like my gifts, they increased even more. I can literally see him. Like I was talking to somebody about his mother. I could feel his presence, feel a way about me talking about something he literally said. And I was telling my daughter because they were best friends, and she was like, "Yup." She was like, "Ma, how do you know he was like that?" Because they grew up, so they all would hang together more often. I would see him. I love you, take care, whatever. But Jada and him, they hung together. And so I told her, I said, I be seeing them because he always be in my face and he meet me in my dreams a lot. So I feel like after experiencing the quantum healing, it activated the gifts even more. And
That's good.
people people will come to me. I could take a person's picture and look at the picture and tell people stuff about their persons. One of the aides gave me a picture of her brother, and I said, "Your brother, he is somebody who's accommodating. He accommodates, and he has a lot of women, and he's able to have a lot of women, and he's accommodating because he refuses to give his heart." And she said, "How did you know that?" And she said, "You know what?
Mm.
My brother has a heart condition." I said, "Because he's accommodating so he don't have to give his heart. He's afraid to give his heart. And that's why he
Yeah,
has
come
so
on,
many
Melinda.
women."
Melinda about to join the crew at Uplift
Yes.
Vibrational Wellness Center. She's gonna be doing some virtual quantum healings.
Yes,
So
she
y'all better
is.
get ready for Melinda because Melinda got the sauce.
Yes,
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 yes.
yes.
And
And
boom, like that. And she was like, "How did you know that?" I said, "I could see it." And she showed me a picture of him. I could see it.
I
Go
want to
ahead,
give the
Keisha. I know what you're gonna say.
I want to give the audience a glimpse of what happened while Melinda was under hypnosis. One of the things that Janine did was she asked the angels to scan your body, and
Hmm.
Janine thoroughly went through every chakra. And so I
Hmm.
need you to understand that the chakras that were cleaned out, all your chakras are cleaned out, including your crown chakra and your third eye, was both cleaned out. And those two are the reason why your gifts came through strongly, because there was blockages.
Hmm.
So I just want to emphasize that that's what Janine did. And there was other things. And when I say Janine did, Janine asked. She
Yes.
asked the angels to do that for you, along with your organs and all that other stuff. So I'm glad we're talking about this because people must understand is that not only do you get you get the past life regression. Part of the quantum healing is the scanning of your body. Uh,
Hmm.
Whoever Janine was talking at that time, and she asked directly, "Can you go from head to toe and look at every body part and let us know if there's something going on. So that's a plus that the session that she had, and we do that with all our clients.
Yeah. And I can attest to, like, after going through my body, I'm telling y'all, I'm 56 years old, but I was going through a time before coming to y'all, I was having difficulty with my knees and with my leg and my ability to walk. And when she went through the scan in my body, it literally healed my knees and stuff. I almost lost my ability to walk, y'all. I'm 56 and I have stuff in the bathroom so that I can go to the bathroom. I was having difficulty walking. That's not the case anymore. And I started exercising I started seeing videos. I started exercising my body to strengthen my body and regain mobility. But the pains that I was having in my body prior to coming for the healing, those things have all been removed. I'm telling y'all,
Wow.
Excellent,
it's
excellent.
the connection of the angels
Like
and
that.
God being able to touch and heal you. It is real. Whatever fears you have about connecting to spirit and understanding more about this life that we're actually in, I'm telling you, I'm so grateful that I stepped past my fear and stepped past my anxiety, and I finally did something for myself. That was to be able to connect with those past lives so that I can be stronger today, you know. Yeah.
That's a wonderful thing because we really put some work into those knees, and we
Mm-hmm.
never got a chance to touch base with you to find out how you panned out after the session. So this is really good confirmation, not only for us but for our
Mm-hmm.
audience to know that
Yeah,
when Dolores Cannon developed this method, that she did say that healing could occur, and
it
in
does.
some cases it does. And
Yeah,
we don't want to we didn't want to put strong emphasis on the physical healing because it just seems like it could be outlandish. It just seems like it's something that you can't that's not really evidence based. So we don't want to confirm that everybody's going to get miraculously healed. But as you can see, people have this testimony. So it's really beautiful that you can come on here and you can give that a testament, so
I'm
people
just
can
saying.
know.
I'm just saying for me. I'm not trying to. Because when you are in pain, when you're experiencing pain and you don't know what to do, and you experience something that actually helps you with that pain, I
Yeah.
had to say something about it because it was real for me when I couldn't get out of my bed at night and would cry when I would have to get out of the bed because my knees were in so much pain. But I had to be honest about what I experienced. And I'm not saying everybody's going to experience what I experienced, but my heart was
Yeah.
open. And that was one of the things I was just like, God, please. And even the sisters here, they be watching me. They be like, "You not?" I was limping and everything. They be watching me. They
Wow.
be like, "What you taking?" I be like, "I still take my beetroot and all of that and this and that." Cause I would not tell the nuns that I done got the healing up and went to get, I'm not gonna tell them, you know. But they noticed
Right.
the difference. They know the difference because they was like, "Wait, she not
Wow.
limping? She not having difficulty? She not struggling?" So I just have
Love
to
that for you.
speak about me. I have to speak about me, y'all. Yeah, that's
Love
my
that. I
truth.
love that for you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah.
What a beautiful testimony. And thank you so much because you really did have a beautiful quantum healing. And we're glad that you were able to come all the way from Connecticut, honey, to
Mhm.
have this experience. And that's what, and, and listen, don't be afraid. We got people coming on flights coming to see us. We got people coming
Absolutely.
on flights, people coming from all across the country to come and get this experience. And this is why,
Right.
again, I like to bring up that we have this show because we want to show people that this thing is real. There really is truly is some connection to when we do this process, this modality, and how people can come out feeling like $1,000,000 and having this level of awareness. And let me ask you a really quick question, Melinda.
Mm-hmm.
I know we have recently asked somebody on our show, what do you think what is the difference between quantum healing and seeing an actual therapist?
I personally, I'm not going to a therapist. I'm not seeing a therapist. I've gone to a therapist and they told me to leave, but cause they didn't feel like they could do anything to help me at that time. Cause I didn't have
Okay.
stuff that they could help me. But my daughter, my eldest daughter is seeing a therapist. And I think from what she tells me, she's able to talk about all this stuff, talking all this stuff. But when I talk to her, I can still feel her anger. I don't feel like with her just going to the therapist that is really getting down to the nitty gritty to that anger and and dealing with the stuff in a way where she can acknowledge it and allow the openness of her heart so that the healing can begin. So that's the difference for me with the therapy that I've went through with you ladies. I was actually able to see for myself with the different lifetimes that I experienced, whether it was the white man or the queen or the priestess, or it was also a little boy that was also one of the people that they revealed to me. I was able to feel what they were going. I was able to feel their character. I was able to feel their pain or whatever it was that they were going through, so that I could acknowledge what I was feeling and then say, I feel this or whatever the pain is. And then through the quantum healing, I felt that leave my body. I can't speak
Yeah.
for the therapist because I know with my daughter, she's still angry about some things, and I could feel her anger. So that's the difference, if there's any that I can say. Hmm.
And then in closing, Melinda, what would you tell our audience about quantum healing and this entire experience? What is the one thing that you would say about this whole experience?
Say, because I was brought up in the church and I was taught that stuff was evil and it was the devil and all of that stuff. But I also had to learn how to think on my own, and the Bible talks about testing the spirit by the spirit. I didn't want to do my quantum healing over video. I wanted to be in person so that I would have the opportunity to feel these ladies out and have the opportunity to know genuinely what they were. And what I would say to the audience is, don't allow fear, religion, or any of those things to stop you from experiencing things just because somebody else told you that it's bad or it's wrong. I think what's important is that you give yourself the opportunity to discern for yourself, not because somebody told you it's the devil, but allow yourself to feel things for yourself. Don't use the discernment from what the church taught you or discernment from what this person told you. Allow yourself to experience things for yourself, because we've been told since we're born this is right and that is wrong. But people rarely take the opportunity to learn what's right and what is wrong for themselves. So I would just say to you, take the opportunity, take off religion, and give yourself the opportunity to feel things for yourself. And don't let fear stop you. And that's what I feel.
What better said than the lady that trucked it all the way from Connecticut to good old Jersey to come see the Twin Flames.
Yes.
And
So
I drove through
thank
the
you,
snow.
Melinda.
No,
That's
I was
right.
not playing. I was like, we gonna get there. My daughter, my grandson. I had my daughter, my grandson in the car. I said, we about to get here. I don't know what it is, but in my spirit, I was like, I got to get there. I got to get there the
Yeah.
day before. We getting there, and I drove through the snow. It was like a snowstorm. My windshield wipers was acting like they didn't want to work. I said, we gotta be there. I don't know what it was, but I stepped outside of religion because I grew up in that and being told that's right and that's wrong. And I decided I'm going to decide what's right and what's wrong for me. I ain't going to keep letting folks telling me what's right and what's wrong for me. And so I
There
felt
you go.
for
Yeah.
myself what was right and what was wrong for me. So I can say for me, what I experienced is genuine. It's God. I don't
Yes.
and things that come from God, it completes you. It doesn't make you feel inadequate. When God shows up, when his
Yes.
presence is there, it completes you. And so if you feel in fear about something that's new that you're being introduced to, like this quantum healing, if you feel in fear, that's not of God. So give yourself the opportunity to experience things for yourself. There's a lot going on in our world right now. And the one thing that you have to be able to find is peace. And you can only do that through the real relationship you have and the connection that you have with the real God that completes you. Not about the one that they say that's sitting up there waiting to judge you and throw you in hell because you done got your freak on and you ain't married. Not that God. I'm talking about the
Not that
real
one.
God.
The other God. Not Big
The
Luther,
real
but
one.
Little Luther. Little Luther.
Know for yourself,
So,
people. Know for yourself. That's all. Because I know.
Linda,
well,
I
Yeah.
just got to say something. You just gave me Janine and I know why we were sent here, but you saying all the things you said for the last few minutes, it just gave us validation again why we were sent here to do this. Your experience feeds our soul. Janine and I don't take
Mhm.
credit for any of this stuff. We give it all to God and his spiritual team.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm grateful that we were able to do your session, and I'm so
Thank
grateful
you.
for the outcome of what you received because, like I said, it was not us, it was God, and I'm thankful to you for validating that it was God,
It
because
was God.
one of the first things people say is that voodoo? No, it's not voodoo.
No.
Why would the devil help her knees?
Why would
Why
he?
would the devil help the pain in her neck? Why would the devil do that? What is the end game for him? So this is not of the devil. This is not voodoo. No, it's
No.
God.
And you got to test that in here for yourself. Your spirit will tell you for yourself. Let your
Hmm.
heart and your spirit connect, not what's in your brain, because your brain is programmed by what you've been told from a child into an adult. Just allow your heart and your soul to speak to you. Allow those to connect, and that's where your truth will come. Because that's all I can say. Because my heart is open and I'm discerning through my spirit. That's where God is in me. Yeah, yeah. Know for yourself,
love
people.
it.
Amen.
Yeah.
Amen.
Well said, Miss Melinda. Well said, Miss Keisha B. Melinda, you were definitely an extraordinary guest. And we
Yes.
thank you
Thank
so much for
you.
coming on because you radiate love, honey. You
Yes, you
radiate
do.
Thank
in a
you.
way that we know is going to bring you abundance.
Thank you.
Because you right there, you are also an author of a book. What the hell is the title of your book again?
Let it go now. 10 ways to avoid it. 13 ways to
A
avoid it.
toxic relationship, honey. I remember now. That's right.
Amen.
That's the
Amen.
book right there that we talked about on the last episode. And we'll drop the link below so you guys can purchase the new version of her book, which is full of great advice about how to overcome toxic relationships and love. So we want to thank you so much for exuding love, Miss Melinda, and coming back on the show and telling everybody about your beautiful experience. And stay vibrant. Stay vibrant, most importantly, y'all. And continue to spread the word. Remember, everybody, God is love. Love is the highest frequency, honey.
Yeah.
And go and find the God within.
Yes.